as much as I feel like I've covered this, I feel like a lot, even in my group sometimes, I don't think that people understand what I mean by the housing market cycle. So the housing market cycle goes in 18 to 20 year cycles like this, right? And you get generally 7 to 10 years up, you get a black swan event right here. You get 2 to 4 years of consolidation that which is met with fear, uncertainty, doubt, high interest rates, high inflation. Everybody expects a recession at the low here. And then you get, 4 to 7 year just face melting rally to the upside. And mind you, it's 4 to 7 years, right? So this is housing, not crypto quite yet, but let me kind of walk you through it. And full credit for the housing market to Phil Anderson. I think there's another gentleman, but Phil Anderson is a gentleman who wrote a book, what's it called? Secrets of Real Estate and Banking or something like that. And this is where I kind of came across it like years and years ago. And 2020 was the reason why I would just never look to news ever again. And this is why, right? So 7 to 10 years up, black swan event right here, 2 to 4 years consolidate, high interest rates, high inflation. Everybody expects a recession, face melting rally to the upside. In the 50s, right, had a run. In the 60, one time frame right here, black swan event, Cuban Missile Crisis. A couple years go by. It ended in high interest rates, high inflation. Everybody expected a recession. Runs it up to top out around 1972. Get a few years of recovery. You restart in 75. 7 to 10 year run up here. 81. Black swan event was our Cuban Missile Crisis. 2 to 4 years of consolidation. High interest rates, high inflation. Everybody expected a recession. You get a blow off top to about 89. Cool off. Restart 1993. These next two iterations should be very familiar to anyone under 30 at least. 1993, we start this off again, 7 to 10 years up. 2001, black swan event. 9/11, 2 to 4 years go by. 2003, really. High interest rates, high inflation. Everybody expect a recession. You got 5 more years of upside. Basically, it says 2007 was the high, but we kind of topped around 2007. 2008 was really when everybody thinks back to it. And we rolled over into the current housing market, which once again is going to be encompassing the stock market and now crypto. So crypto was born 2009, right? So right here. So while, yes, we only have the 4-year cycles to go off of, my larger thesis here is that, and don't get it wrong, like, we could see 50 and 60% pullbacks. I'm not saying that, the markets are all just going to continue straight up, but I do think we got more upside coming overall for everything. And this will kind of almost explain, or it'll kind of at least make some sense of the recent years, right? Because 2011, we restarted this housing market trend. 2009, crypto's born. Really, 2011 is when you start having even data points for Bitcoin on charts and stuff like that. But yeah, you got a 7 to 10 year run up, black swan event, baby. What was it? Oh, Roni. 2 to 4 years go by. So basically 3.5, really. And I made the last real big update on this in September of 2023. So that was right here, right? So 2020 hits, 2 to 4 years of sideways consolidation, fear, uncertainty, wars are breaking out. What did we end 2023 with in Q3, right before Q4? High interest rates, high inflation. Everybody expected 2024 to be a recession. And what has 2023 Q4 and 2024 been? A face melting rally of all kinds. Stock markets all-time high over all-time high. Crypto obviously is included in that now. A housing market necessarily hasn't made new highs across the board, but it's holding well. And I anticipate that to continue towards 2026 to 2029, maybe 20. And this is the hard part, right? Is it comes into a place where the years are going to make a difference, right? Like, you don't want to be caught off or whatever you do, anything. This is all entertainment, right? What I know I'm doing is that this next coming years here is where I'm looking to scale out of things pretty heavily and prepare for, honestly, a Great Depression 2.0. And 2029 is an interesting time frame because that's the 100-year cyclical anniversary of the Great Depression, which is why I think that, and on top of just how everything is right now, when you talk about an everything bubble, I just think that that time frame will be pretty wild. Don't know, yet to be seen. Not married to it. For years I've been targeting and analyzing this simple outlook here. And honestly, I thought this would come in 2018 when we were having some more difficult the leader at the time, who's our leader again now, was having some interesting back and forth with another country, right? So I always put it that way. 2018, right? So, but 2020, came in. sure enough, was that time frame, the window. Everything made sense. If you even look at the presidential election to some degree, which I'm not going to get too political, but you had this nice huge high, with someone who is thought of to be like, the person that brought everything to a certain level. In my opinion, I think that this time frame was written in the stars, that we were going to have this 4-year period. So you slid out one guy, you slid in another guy, and then you slide in this guy again to have that last little rally in all the markets. Because one thing is for sure is when people feel comfortable with their leadership and all that, what do they start doing? They're going to start spending money. They're going to keep getting into debt. They're going to get that new car regardless of the price. Even that, inflation and all that is still going to be here, but people are going to be a little bit more willing to do so. Maybe minimum wage, pops up in whatever the case is. Obviously, I don't know how it's going to play out. I'm just looking at simple data points. And one thing I want to point out is it's not this simple, obviously. But the years, and the events and like the things that led to it and the black swans, and like it's just an interesting concept. So for me, to answer that question on how I think this bull run, I think that the idea of the 4-year deal is something I don't touch on, and I don't get involved with. And even this, I'm not trying to get married to like I'm holding everything till 2029. But in the next coming years here, I think we're just going to ebb and flow. You just have to really look at this market as a market. The stock market, for example, I don't think, and I could be wrong, but you don't hear everybody looking to the stock market like it's like this guaranteed 4-year or 10-year or 15-year bull run, because it's always what it's done, right? And I could be totally wrong. I don't really get too involved with the stock market, but crypto has just been drilled into everyone's mind. And I say this in the sense of like, when I look at my biggest gauge, some people say it's Twitter, but I think if you go to Facebook and look at a cryptocurrency community or whatever, that is the utmost retail. And I'm a retail guy. We're all retail guys, right? And girls. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with somebody who's coming in new, but when you are coming in new at highs like this, right, you don't know what is going on. And I think people rush into things, and the first few things that they're going to look to and find is this bull run is almost over. You got 6 to 12 months. It's a guarantee. Get your altcoins now. I see the same things over and over again. $1,000 today is going to be $100K in a few weeks. And maybe I was even that guy at some point, right? Like without even realizing it. But I just see that, and I just feel like I don't think this year, 2025, is just a guaranteed up only kind of thing. I do more so. I foresee us, even though I see us making a new high, I still see a higher probability that we get a huge correction first before the remainder of this year, maybe ends up pretty, and maybe we start at a certain point and we end higher, but in the middle, just like we've seen, year over year, even 2023, I'm sorry, 23? I kind of highlighted it here. 2023 and 4, zooming out, like, yeah, it's been great, right? It's just been nothing but up only, boom, bull flag and all. But like, if you lived out these time frames, they weren't easy, man. Like, this one right here, this is actually where I made that video at. This was August and September of 2023. This is when things were very scary, honestly, and people were thinking, we might see back to whatever. And why do I bring that up? I bring that up because, I just think that we're in for moves like this, right? To where, like, at the end of the day, yeah, the year ended high, but there's going to be some tomfoolery, every step of the way. It's like people are so afraid that the bull run's over, and which for good measure, like this market drops 90% when it does, and it ain't fun. So you don't, you want to protect yourself from that, but protecting yourself from those things is coming in and being patient and strategizing and coming in at ideal areas, and not FOMOing, not fear, panic selling, I guess. And the other thing is, none of us know what's going to happen. So could we top out here and completely just roll over? Sure. But yeah, for me, I anticipate this year to end the question on how I think the bull run is going to end. I don't think I'll even consider that. I'm just looking at the next major moves in crypto.